Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun HaMishna. Today we're discussing the first Mishnah in Parakeh and Maseches Terumos. There's two cases the Mishnah talks about. One case is where Truma Tmeya, right, falls into a mixture of chulin that's less than 1 in 100. So let's say 70 to 1, 50 to 1, right? So therefore, the halacha is that we treat the whole pile as Truma Tmeya. You have to let it rot. And in the second case, the Mishnah talks about where it's the opposite, where the truma is tahora, but it falls into chulin as tameh. In that case, we reckon the truma as 1 out of 70, and you can sell the whole thing as chulin to a kohen, right? We don't say it has to rot the entire thing. So the Mefarshim asks, why is it in the first case that we give the status of truma tmeh to the entire thing? Why don't we say, no, the truma is 1/70th of the part, so you can sell it to the kohen, sell it to a kohen, and just be poda the truma tmeya and assume whatever you're taking out. Meaning you sell it to him, it's 71 parts. You sell 70 parts. The one part they don't sell, you assume is the truma tmeya. Why does it make the whole thing tummy that you have to let everything rot? In the other case, where the chulin is tummy but the truma is tahora, then we allow you to treat it as 1 part truma and the rest chulin, and you only have to. So why is that? So we explained over here that when you have less than 100th, really there is a concept of bittul barov midaraisa, and it should apply here also. Because of mimenu, possible mimenu, that we're concerned has to be 1 to 100 in order to not be dimua. Dimua, we said, only takes effect partially on the truma. And it creates, like the word dimua is like a tear, right? Like a big tear swells in your eye. You're very sad, and there's a lot of water gathering in your eye, and one drop drips out of it. So that drop comes exactly from that mixture. Dimua is a swelling, and because bittul barov works, that works for Gadabi the Isser. That's what I'm suggesting over here. There's 2 parts to truma. There's 2 parts to the mitzvah. It's one mitzvah. There's 2 parts. One is your makdish l'shem shamayim, and the second part is that could do the hektish, what you gave l'shem shamayim. This is called truma. You give to a kohen also, and he has to eat it in sanctity because it's not entirely his. He has a schus to eat it. He doesn't have entirely bilas. We'll talk about maybe he can makadesh a woman with it. Does he own it entirely or not? That's a different discussion. He has partial control, partial bilas, partial ownership, but he has to eat it b'kedusha. He can't eat it betuma. He can only do a certain thing. He can burn it under his tafshel betuma, but he can't eat it betuma. He's not allowed to do that. So for the Dinei Mamanis, that's where the Pasuk Mimenu was coming in. The Pasuk Mimenu was telling me that even though Regabi the Isser, it is Batal Barov, it's not Batal Barov when it comes to the Dinei Mamanis, and you have to treat the whole thing as Dimua, like a big tear in your eye. And therefore, not only if you have 100 to 1, it doesn't allow you to say the 1 is Batil and the whole thing is Mutter. No, you still have to give 1 part to the Kohen, because the whole idea of Dimua is to ensure that the Kohen gets his money. And that the Torah wanted to ensure, because the parnasa of the Kohanim is very important. The Torah want to ensure they get, in fact, their money. And even if it's rov, the Torah said, no, even if it's rov, we want to make sure they get their money. Is it aser? No, it's not aser. But we want to ensure they get their money. If it didn't maminis, they said 1 to 100. 1 to 100, already they said, okay, it's too far, where it's too much of a knas on the person who made a mistake to mix the truma in his chulin. So you just take off 1 part and treat that as truma, and the rest you're allowed to use yourself. Now, even if it's 1 to 70, you could still sell the whole thing to a truma, the whole thing as truma at a discounted rate to the kohen, because most kohanim, or there are fewer kohanim in Israel, and there's not such a great demand, so the price is going to go down. Supply and demand, the price is going to go down, but you can still do that. But once it's already 1 to 100, it's too little, so therefore Chazal allows you, the Torah allows you to take off 1 part, give it to the kohen, and the rest is chulin for you. So because it's dimua, so therefore it's coming from the truma that's mixed into it, so therefore it's less than 1 100. It's like a big tear. A small tear is coming from a big tear, so it's the same thing. The tear is exactly the same thing as the bigger mixture. So we ascribe the status of truma when this truma is the one thing that's causing dimua, it's causing the mixture. We ascribe the status of truma to the whole thing, along with the chumras that might be with that truma. So if it's truma tmeya, we consider the whole thing truma tmeya. It's like one big gathering of liquid in your eye, a big tear in your eye that's going to partially come from it. What it partially is the truma. The whole thing gets treated as one. For the dinei maminis, it gets treated as truma tmeya. However, when it comes to truma tahora that get mixed in with a chulin, so over there right? Even though we treat it as truma, the whole thing, but we can treat it as truma tahora because it's all coming from the mamnas to the truma. The truma gives whatever it has to the other things. So the truma in the second case is truma tahora already. It's truma tahora. It's tahor, so it's not going to be matame. We're not going to treat the whole thing as truma tmeya in that case. We only treat it as truma tmeya. If it's coming from the truma tmeya, it's medame like it. But if it is truma tmeya and the tuma is in the chulin, it's not going to. We're not going to ascribe tuma to the rest of it. Say it's truma, all truma, and it's truma tmeya, and make everything go rot. No, we'll say only what is tame is only the truma is only one part. Not it doesn't make the whole thing tame truma. That would be the answer to this question. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you later today. You're going to join me, Shulchan Aruch Yomi. We're going to be wrapping up Hilchos Tefillin very soon.